Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Generation to Generation podcast. My name is Ashley.
My name is Heather.
And do you have a quote for today?
The quote for today is enjoy the now.
Oh,
Tomorrow
that's
is
good.
not promised. Enjoy the now because God is blessing in the now.
It's good. It's good.
The topic for today is enjoy the now. That's what God just gave us.
Oh, enjoy the now?
Yeah, that's what we were just talking about when he said press record.
Oh, I forgot it that fast. Okay.
And it starts with what you were saying.
Oh, what? Okay.
You said you're going to remember when we said...
I said I'm going to remember what I need to remember.
Okay, so go ahead. We were just talking, a guy said press record.
I was saying that after this journey, I'm going to need some rest. Oh, yeah, it started because I had a dream. And my mother was like, oh, yeah, when we get to the destination that God is taking us to, that we got to do this. And then we rest and have the luxuries that he said afterwards. I said, no. Where did you see that at? Because I'm not going to lie to you. I went from tired to exhausted.
Yeah.
And so I saw it said that you're at the threshold of your promise because we were downstairs in the dream. And so I was by the door. So it says you're at the threshold of your promise. And it was saying that, what was it saying? It was saying that before you do any other assignment in the destination that God has you in, you need to soak in prayer and spiritual, what did it say? Spiritual restoration or spiritual recovery? Let me see what it says. It said you need to soak in... God, please help me. Oh, I had it on the thing. If I just... Okay.
Just look for it. It's fine. We'll wait.
Yes, it says... Don't rush into the physical assignment or the new task in the destination without first soaking in prayer and spiritual refreshing. So I saw that part, and then it said you're at the threshold of your promise by you standing by the door. By you the assignment was by the door. And so it was saying like trust the lane changes. That's interesting because God did a lane change this morning. But then it was saying, I had switched it. And I was like, no, I was saying that, I switched it to say something that it was supposed to say. And what it had said essentially was, it says the bath second means that meaning that I was saying that first, next time I'm going to do the assignment first and then take a shower instead of taking a shower, then doing the assignment. So that's what I was trying to change. And when it said that, it said it means that the work of the move, the spiritual, the preparation of spiritual warfare, it takes precedent over your personal comfort or usual routine of getting ready. And then it said the bath second means that your rest and refreshing are coming after you complete the threshold task. Remember, the threshold task was the front door assignment. And so it was saying finish this part of it first, then God will give you a season of soaking and luxury in the high-rise bathroom. And so I say that to say, in that dream, my mom had read it as, we gonna rest after we do the stuff and the new assignments, that we need to do the new assignments first and then we rest. And I was like, no, that's not how I understood it. So she was showing me, and I was like, no. So God had let me see it again this morning, and he let me realize, no, the things that we're doing now is what's required for us to get the rest in the next destination. The destination that he's taking us to. Not the next destination, the one he's taking us to. And so I say that to say, I was telling her that sometimes we're so focused on I gotta do the next steps of everything that we don't take a moment to rest off of it. And so yes, God gives you 5 million different things, 5 million different open doors, and 5 million different promises, but they open at the time where he allots. So he's just giving you a preview of it all, but it don't mean all of it is happening at once. It'll happen in stages where your spirit can handle it. Because if not, even though you're prepared spiritually for it, it could still crush you because of the time. It's not yet. It's premature time that you're putting forth in it, when he has a set time for it all. So yes, it is already confirmed in the spiritual, but there's a set time for it in the physical. So you don't go after it. It will always come to you. So yes, there's certain things that you have to go after and do. He will tell you which ones those are. Like right now at the threshold, there are certain things, certain warfare, certain, instructions and assignments that he has given to get us to that destination. But after that, he told me I could get rest. And it's a reminder of the other things he told you beforehand too. Because after that was when he told me I could wash my hair. And my mom has to wash her hair that same day. And then, all the things of the replenishing food. Because I wanted Chinese food. I said, God, I want some good Chinese food. And to me, I don't know. I just need to find a spot in New York that's really hitting. But that's not neither here nor there. Because God was like, you ain't want Chinese food. You actually want Jamaican food. And he reminded me of what I had said in 2024 when I said that when I touched down, I want to get some Jamaican food. I want to get a patty and cocoa bread. And so I say that today he was reminding me of the food that actually brings the good replenishing and comfort, like the cornmeal porridge that brought comfort to me. So when I was in here and I couldn't celebrate my birthday, what he did was I had to make the most of it. And in terms of he was like, don't sit there and sulk all day, because I couldn't answer. Nobody was telling me happy birthday and I wanted to answer. And one of my really good friends, she was the first person to say it, and I wanted to answer her, but I couldn't answer, and my heart was just hurting because I didn't want the people who I love thinking that I'm ignoring them. And so my heart was just hurting. So I was just crying because I was really hoping that we would be out already. And so he was like, make the most of the day. Don't sit here and essentially saying don't sulk. And the beautiful thing about it is, before he even said that, he allowed my mom to go get cornmeal porridge and stuff, the ingredients for the cornmeal porridge. And I ended up being able to make cornmeal porridge for my birthday. And I always told God, I said, it reminds me of it's like a warmth and a good hug. It's like a comfort hug when I eat that. And so I was eating it, and he reminded me of what I had said, that anytime I eat cornmeal porridge, it's like a comforting hug from him, or just a hug. It's like I'm getting a hug. And it was as if God was giving me a hug in the form of the cornmeal porridge. I know it sounds crazy, but in that moment, that's literally what I needed. I needed comfort, and he gave it to me. And so I say that to say, a lot of the time, I was going somewhere with it. Yes, so God was saying, when you get into the new destination, that's the replenishing you need. Because I was telling him, I said, I went from being tired to exhausted. All this week, it was a lot. And the week's not even done yet.
This week.
And so the whole thing, but now this week is intensified because you're at the threshold, it's And so I say that to say, in order to be good use for any new assignment, I need all that prayer and that soaking of spiritual, what is it? Spiritual, what is it?
Is it restoration? I don't know.
Spiritual refreshing. I need that. I need all of that I can get before I can be any good use to any new assignment that God has. Because then it's bringing the old tiredness of what he took me out of into that new. And I can't have that. So God knows, and I was telling my mom that in this, even before he brought us into manifestation, he took us into the hollow season, where it's that moment of rest, where you learn how to rest in God. And so it was different for us because we were moving from striving and learning that you can't strive with God. You have to learn how to rest in him. Meaning, instead of taking on the anxieties and the worries, you have to learn how to rest that God handles that. So you don't go to worry first, you go to him first, and you rest in him in understanding and knowing that he is taking care of it, so that you don't have anxiety and worry higher than your rest and assurance and understanding that God has it under control. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's literally what I understood as the hollow season was. And in the stretching, which is even crazier, because I didn't know you could still be stretched in the hollow season, or maybe I was in manifestation at that point. I don't know. I feel like it's so many different seasons I was gonna say daggone. It was so many different seasons that I can't keep up. But in that, he was stretching me and teaching me also how to rest in him while stretching me. And it was an interesting thing because the task that he was requiring, oh my God. And then he was able to allow me to gradually learn, but I had to learn how to do it the long way first. And then he showed me the shortcuts. So now I know how to do them both ways, or multiple different ways, you know. So I was saying, yeah, I need to be able to have that time, because what's the point of working so much for all of the promise? Not even working so much, but going through all of the warfare and stuff for the promise, and you can't even enjoy it until what? After? Mm-hmm. And it's like, I'm going and enjoying this with you. And I'm not saying I need like years in order to replenish and this and the third. No, I just need however long God feels I need. That's how much I need. Just to rest and just recover. You know what I'm saying? And so that's how this conversation got into play. And then I started talking about the present. And of us living in the present because of what Pastor Joel has said.
Mm-hmm. And that's when I was saying that it's interesting because on what was it, Jay Barnett's podcast, he had that man Jay Bolton. He's a designer. And one of the things that Jay Bolton said on Jay Barnett's podcast was that he dresses people. He's a designer, and he dresses people for how they want to be in the future. And he said one of the things that he's changing for his designing is he wants to design people in the now. He wants people to see how they are in the now and enjoy the now of life. And like Ashley said, sometimes we get so busy to say, God, this is what I want to do. I want to go back to school. I want to do this. I want to do that. That it's like a child. Let me use that as an example. It's like raising your children, because you're so focused on getting that bachelor's degree, that associate degree, the bachelor's degree, the PhD, going to grad school, doing everything. You're so focused on doing that you tend to forget sometimes about the other responsibility of being there for your children, or raising your children, or going to open school, or going to meet with a teacher, or going to the principal's office, because you get so busy. And it's not like you're a bad parent, don't get me wrong, you're not. It's just that you're trying to build the future for you and your children. And so it's the same example where he's saying that he's trying to teach his clients, and not even teach them, but to let his clients enjoy the now of life. And it's so important for us to enjoy the now, because if we don't see the now and enjoy the now, it's difficult for us to even see the future, because you can't jump to 20 years old if you never went through 1 to 19 years old. You don't just become 20 years old. You have to go through that process. So when we enjoy the now of life, it gets better. And then I was saying how with Joseph, God had put in my spirit with Joseph, that when Joseph was sold, and his brothers sold him, and he was in that cage, and he went and worked for Potiphar, and he was working in the prison and all that stuff. When he was doing all of that, he was doing all that work, and you can imagine how exhausted he was. But on that day, that fateful day that God allowed Pharaoh to have that dream, and the cupbearer, God allowed the cupbearer to remember Joseph, and Pharaoh called for Joseph on that fateful day. What did God do? God allowed Joseph, now from that day, he was given not orders, what do you say? He was we call that word. He was designating the work. He was delegating. The work. He was delegating the work. He was delegating the work to people. He wasn't doing that work. And the reason why he wasn't doing the work anymore is because God had prepared him to do all that work. He had opportunities to sit in that seat and to walk that road of doing all those responsibilities. And so at that point, that fateful day, he was able to delegate the work to others. And then he was able to enjoy the now. And that's why Pharaoh gave him a wife, and that's why he had children. He was overseeing. That's what it was. He was overseeing. And so it's so important to enjoy the now of life. Yes, we're asking God for things. Yes, we're praying and we're believing God. But Enjoy the now. Enjoy the position that he has you in, because it has a purpose. Enjoy the where you are right now and where you're waiting to go in God. Enjoy that, because it's just as important as it's just as important as to where he's taking you. So the now, it's so important for us to enjoy it.
And those are good points. I think I want to touch, because I want to go back to that example of the children, because that's actually really good. And I want to go back to Joseph, though, first. It's so interesting because God just put in my head that Joseph went from being a servant to those people to now being a servant leader. Because he learned how to serve.
Wow.
He was performing, taking over the leadership of the whole place. And or maybe he was already a servant leader and was always serving, so he was naturally able to step in. The point of it is that he was serving. And every time, because he had the favor of God, results were always showing in.
Yes.
And so in this now, it was him having leadership over the whole thing by himself. But that on that day, he had other people who Pharaoh brought to him because of God. Do you get what I'm saying? He had those people now where he said, like you just said, he was able to delegate those exact things and those exact tasks and certain tasks of putting away and storing the food and in this and overseeing. So he went from doing to now overseeing.
Yes.
And I think that's good because it switches the role.
Yes.
He's no longer doing what he was used to for years. I think it was 13 years, they said.
Yes,
to
I believe it was 13.
Now doing something different in a leadership role that he had gotten, and it looks like overnight, but God has already been building in him for 13 years that people didn't see.
Yes.
And so I think that was important. And then I think also too, when you brought up the school, God had put in my head that with your children, you're focused on building a future for them, but you forget their foundational needs.
Yes, the basics.
So you're focused on the future, but you're forgetting the foundation.
Yeah, which is the now.
Yes. And I think that's why it's so important. And it's not to say don't strive for more for yourself, but don't let the more for yourself because you're thinking you're doing it on behalf of your kids and setting your kids' future up. That might not be the future God has for them, but it's the future you think God has for them, or the future you desire for them because you want them to be better than you. And so this is what is important, because in missing the things that you need by focusing on what you desire, it messes you up in the long run, because then you are saying, I did this so much for you to bring a better life for you. And they're now telling you this was not what I needed.
Yes.
And so that's why it's so important, I say, and it's never too late to do. And I guess you could take this as a grain of salt because I'm not a mother, but it's so important to raise your children with God and listen and understand, because while he's building your future, he's also telling you how to build a foundation in them.
Yes.
He's also teaching you how to train them up by also training you up, so they see the example and the fruit of what he is doing through you, so they can look to you and look to him even more. So now the burden of leadership no longer belongs fully just on you, because your kids can now learn how to go to God at a young age because of the foundation he helped you build in them. You know what I'm saying? So I say that to say it's easier said than done, but I really do think that the easiest way to start is asking God how to raise your children. How does he desire for you to have your children? And even when you don't agree with some of it, still being obedient to what he desires, because he sees farther as much as you can. You know what I'm saying? We mess up. But even in the mess up, not sinking, but getting back up again and working it out with him and doing better. And so you miss out on the foundation when you're not focused on the present. Because during that time, the foundation that you think you're building is a foundation for the future that you don't even know they need.
Yes.
You don't even know you need it. Because God might not even have that for you.
Yes.
So how do you know he has it for them?
Yes.
And so you strive to be something. That's the idea of striving. You're striving to perform instead of learning how to rest. And so then it leaves you with the question of, God, teach me how to rest. Or maybe it leaves you in the question, am I resting in God or am I striving to perform? Do I feel like my worth comes from performance, or do I feel like my worth just comes from the opportunity that I have the privilege to be in the presence of God and allow him to orchestrate my life? And again, It's not to try to sound churchy. It's just the truth of it. And it's the truth of how we should be living our lives. It's just that it's not a norm to us yet. But it will become a norm. The more you do it, it will become a normal for you. And it will become your way of life instead of a life you think you're not supposed to live. And so you see the difference in it. Just try it. Just try it. Give God a try and just try it. Again, I'm not a parent,
you will not fail.
But this is what I'm learning.
You will not fail.
Having that solid foundation on God, He will help you now. Now you don't have to wait till your kids are older for them to build that foundation with God, because you've already been teaching them how to build it with Him.
Yes.
And so it changes it. It changes it, and it allows you to see it completely different. And so I say that to say, I don't know, just try it and see. And I was going to say something else, but I forgot.
God just put in my spirit, He said, don't let your future steal your now.
Oh, that's good.
So just like Ashley said, there's certain things you want to achieve. But in pursuing those achievements that you want to achieve, somehow, some way, you're robbing some of your now. And He wants you to see the now sometimes before sometimes He wants you to see the now before He gives you a glimpse of the future. Because sometimes the now might not look pretty. The future gonna look pretty. But He wants you to see all parts of it. So He wants you to see the ugly in the now. He wants you to see the pretty in the now. So when He gives you the future, you could appreciate the now. You didn't bypass the now. And so He just downloaded that in my spirit. Don't let your future steal your now.
And that's important. That's a really good one, because one thing I like about Pastor Joel, he's vulnerable. He will tell you his weaknesses on the pulpit. He don't have
Pastor
to wait.
Latasha.
Yeah, he'll tell you his weaknesses on the pulpit.
Remember he was talking about the dog, but he just became a single dad of the dog.
Yeah, and I think the one thing that he had said that was profound is when they were first starting and we were starting to have, instead of pop-up churches, I think it was going into us having real service and transitioning into that. And he has said he's learning, and he was vulnerable and honest. He said, I'm learning. Maybe it was beforehand, but he said at one point in one of the services, he said, I'm learning how to stop striving. It was after his book came out. So it was last year. It's after, it was the Fight to Find You.
The fight to find myself, or something like that.
Okay, something after like his book came out. I'm going to find it. After his book came out, he was talking about, and it was after he did the news interview, he had said that, he said one thing he's learning that God is teaching him is he has to enjoy. It says the book is The Fight to Find Yourself by Joel Tudman. I didn't get the book yet. I want to tell y'all, go get it. I didn't get the book yet. I don't have the funds yet, but I do have it spiritually. And when I do get the funds, I'm gonna get it.
Yes.
So, but go get it. And I say that to say, we'll put the link in the description. He was saying,
don't strive. He wants not to strive. That's what you were saying.
Thank you. Okay. That God, he was realizing that one thing he is learning is he's always looking for the next. And he said, I need to learn how to live in the now. I need to learn how to live in the present. Enjoy the present achievements. And it was in a message he had said it. Enjoy the present achievements. Enjoy the now. Give yourself a pat on the back for the things that you have achieved.
Yeah.
Now. It was towards the last of the message. I'm going to try to find it. But I'm going to try to find it while you talk.
We could do that after, actually. Let's focus on this and you just do that after. Whatever you could remember, just say it. And the title of the message, we'll just put it in the caption if we find it. And so we could just focus on the assignment.
No, that's true. That's true.
You said that's true, but you still a look.
Oh, yeah, because it was important. I'm sorry.
No, I'm not saying no important, but make we, just like you always do, you just go back and look and see the caption, put in the caption, the name of the book and the title of the message and stuff like that.
Yeah, so go ahead. You understand? Continue.
But it's interesting because, he said it, the man Bolton said it, and we say it and we believe it, and I'm quite sure you say it and you believe it. So we're praying that there's at least one person who know it And it's hard to do. I'm not going to say it's easy to do, because it's life, and we're so used to wanting more and to do more for ourselves and for our families. We're so used to it. But one of the things God has allowed me to learn throughout this journey, just like he had told Ashley, before I used to be running after the things because I felt like I needed to get those things. I needed to build a future. I needed to do this. I needed to do that. And God allowed us, while we were going through this journey, and even at the end when he told Ashley that all we needed to do was to know him. And I'm telling you, when God's word says, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you, he's not lying. Because when you go after God first and you seek God first and you put God first, then the future is already set for you. And he doesn't just set it for you. He set it for you, your entire family. Even the ones that you don't like are going to be blessed for you. Even the ones that you having problems with are going to be blessed by you, because it's not only for you. So he blesses you, he blesses your family, and he blesses others through you.
Yeah.
So when we say, when God says, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, I'm telling you, just like Ashley said, if you try God, and if you really give him that serious yes and surrender to him and seek him, don't seek us, don't seek people, and don't seek God through people. Seek him for yourself. When you do that, I'm telling you, he changes your entire life, the way how you think, the way how you pursue things. And the funny thing is, in the beginning, you are saying, God, you know what? I really want a better future. And so you're seeking in the beginning a better future through God. But throughout the journey, he lets you realize that when you have him, you will have everything that you need. The future, more than the future, more than any, he blows your mind when you seek him. So try God. Just like Ashley's saying, try him. You will never fail. And nothing God does in your life is in vain. Nothing he does is in vain. So try God.
Yeah, and I know people don't like hearing try God, but some people got to start by trying and testing. Not testing God, but just trying God. Don't test God, but trying God. Or maybe, try it. Put him to the test. Put his words to the test. Yeah, put his words to the test.
And I tested him,
and when you put his words to the test, it doesn't mean you put him to the test and then afterwards you take it back and be like, oh, you ain't doing it in the timing that I wanted it. No. You got to wait till it comes out. And I think trying God will go into you starting at trying to you actually starting to make this your lifestyle. It'll transform naturally. It'll transition naturally, because it's going to make you want to go and do more and more and more. And that's why it's important that when God says pray without ceasing, it's important, because now it gets to those things that you were praying for before, they become smaller things because you've received those. You don't need faith for those no more, because you had the faith for those. They came to pass, and now you need faith for something else. It's a new way of seeing God. And this is when your prayer life is important, because you have to have a steadfast praying life, a grounded prayer life in God, because there's certain things and certain assignments and things that God desires for your future that you can only pray out with him. Meaning you can only get it through praying and fasting with him and having that good, intimate relationship with him. And Pastor Nathaniel Bassi was just talking about it yesterday. Some people have to pray out their new beginnings and their new purposes. Like you have to literally pray it out with God's direction. And I'm going to put it in, it was in the Hallelujah Challenge. I'm going to put it in the description. It was Hallelujah Challenge Day 10. And I'm going to put it in the description. But he was saying some things you have to pray out. And you have to pray it out. Because he was talking about a vision, and he was seeing praying women around the building of business and like women taking over, in a sense. Not taking over, but you have to say it. I don't want to misconstrue his words or mess up his words. But I say that to say, when you have a grounded prayer life with God and you have that intimacy, and getting into the idea that intimacy is not sex. Intimacy with God is... the only reason why we view it as that is because we've perverted intimacy. We've allowed the devil to pervert what true intimacy is. And this is coming from somebody who had that perverted mindset. Intimacy is not that. Intimacy with God is being able to be in his presence, being able to be in that quiet place with him. And when you have silent time and quiet time with him, you get to hear his small nudges and his small voices and allow him to talk to you in many different ways. I'm learning God more in different facets of life and different areas of my life because of me being and choosing to uphold and have and put as a priority my intimacy with him, my time with him, my love for him, my devotion to him. So it's way more than just that one physical activity. It's so much more spiritually, and it does so much growth in your spirit that we don't allow ourselves to see because we focus so much on that one physical thing. And it's not that. It's not just that. There's so many other forms of intimacy. Just being in closeness with a person, proximity in their presence, existing with them and not even having to talk. That's a form of intimacy. Like, there's so much other things that I feel like we should dissect, because then it allows you to see your love for God differently. It allows your love for God not to be tainted on what the world taught you, but on what he's now teaching you. And so a prayer life and building that prayer life, I'm not saying you have to have a structured prayer and how people do it. No, you do not have to have a structured prayer. I truly believe the best prayers come from the heart. Pray from your heart.
Yes.
God already knows what's in your heart. Pray from your heart, because that's where his spirit lives. And whatever nastiness is in there, he will cleanse it out, so that those prayers are actually coming in pureness of him. When you're having sacred time and sacred space and holy ground, don't defile it by making it your bedroom if you know you're doing nastiness in there, because you can't put a holy ground. And this is coming from somebody who God told you were defiling the same place you was trying to make holy. Don't have it as that spot because it just won't work out for you. It has to be a sacred, holy ground that only you and God are in, and having that time and that opportunity to be soaked in with his love. And it's a literal secret place that not many people can enter into. Not many people should be entering into unless he says for those people to enter in. You get what I'm saying? And so building that is important. And how do you build that? You build it with him. So it's easier to build relationships with people because we see their physical faces, but you have to learn how to build a relationship with God even when you feel like you don't see his face. Because you'll hear him and you're going to have to get used to hearing and not seeing. That's building faith. So you're going to have to get used to seeing the difference of how the world operates and how God operates. And the more you do it, he will take you through the process. It's your specific process that he has designated for you. And when it comes to the future, he already had this future planned out for you before you were formed. We got to remember that too. So before you were even formed in your mother's womb, he knew what you would be. And so he gave me a dream last night, and then it ended with a vision. And it was like it was saying that the vision was showing the completion of what God has done. And in the vision, I said, this reminds me of the girl. So the girl I'm referring to is the me who I always used to see. I would see her walking on grounds that I walked on, and I was always trying to figure out how to find this girl. And I didn't know how to find her. I just knew this was me, but I didn't know how to find her. And it wasn't until 2023, because my spirit was always feeling like it was living in my body, but it was trying to escape because this was not home. I don't know how to explain it, but it felt like it always wanted to run away because whatever was living inside was not a home for it. And so I say that to say, in this dream that turned into a vision, it was God showing me the girl who I was looking for with her hair in a ponytail, and she looked so revived and so good. It was the girl that I am now, that I only was able to find when I gave myself to him. When he found me, allowing him to really save me and do his process in and through me so that I don't go back to who I was, but actually go back into, return to, it's returning to who he created me to originally be. So instead of me going back into who I turned into when I got into the world, it is me going back into who he returning back into who he created me to be. That was a tongue twister. But that's what I'm saying. I'm saying I'm returning back into the original form he created me as. And so that's why it's hard, because I don't know that original form, because I had so many years of knowing the worldly form of myself. And so it's now transitioning and getting to know that person. But I was only able to find her and see now that her hair is not in a ponytail. It's actually down. And she's smiling and free. And she's living in the actual promise that God has for her. And he's smiling and taking a snapshot of it and showing me the snapshot of it, of the fulfillment of everything he promised. And I say that to say, it said at one point, it was showing that you were going from striving. The one who had the ponytail was the girl who was working, who was doing all the things, tired, this and that. I didn't even tell the whole thing, but it knew. And because it was God speaking. Because every time I do that, I try not to do too much on the AI. I go on what he was telling me, what he's telling me, and to mix it with what I'm hearing and allow him to decipher which words he wants me to use. So I have to use discernment in that, because not everything that's said is for me. But it was talking about the girl who was working, who was striving to find that girl, to now me being in the girl who is able to rest in that girl. I'm now that girl who I was always trying to find. So it's no longer I'm trying to find her, I'm now her. And it was only because of God that I was able to now be her. Wow. And so when people say I was striving to find my identity, and in finding God, I found my identity, they're not lying. I too was that same way. I was struggling with identity issues, rejection, all the things that you could probably even think of. But I'm not going to take on certain things. So I'm going to just list the few. Let's go with the list that I just said. But I say that to say it was a struggle of identity, and I couldn't find it on my own. I tried to, and I ended up falling into something that I knew wasn't me, but I didn't know how to leave it. And I knew this person who I turned into was not me. I didn't know me, but I knew whoever this was not me. But I didn't know how to get to me or get out of who this was. And the only way I was able to do that was literally through prayer and fasting with God. And I had to find God. Not find him. He found me. And I had to actually release control for him to do his process in and through me. So even when I wasn't doing it right, he had me as a Homer. It's a Hosea and Gomer kind of thing, where Gomer went back to her life. That was me when he told me in August 2023 to stop. That was me. I went back into doing certain things, but I didn't do the same thing that he let me get off of fast stuff and told me not to do anymore. I completely stopped that one, but I went into still drinking a lot, still doing this, still partying and this, that, and the third. And I felt like everything had heightened, and I felt like it was just so he could draw me to him, so then he could then draw me into the wilderness that he was going to send me into. And it was all a process that I just didn't know about. So I say that to say that was like a long-winded way of saying that God already knows your future. So you don't have to do the planning for what is already known. You just have to go and to know the one who knows it, so you can be known. And so when he brings you into that future, you're not going in it performing and feeling like you need to be somebody. You just need to be yourself and who he created you to be. And you can be comfortable in that. So no one can ever tell you need to be this way in a thing that God had created you first off and formed you specifically to be in. Just because they needed to be that way to get it doesn't mean you need to be that way to get it. Y'all got it two different avenues. They didn't get it from God. You did. So how you got it from God was in how he created you to be and formed you to be. And I only know that because of the dream. Janet Jackson was my aunt in the dream. And she said, imagine. She looked at me and said, imagine. I had to know the board in order to get this gig. And all you needed to do was know me.
That's what God told you.
What I had told God after that dream. Yeah, he was in the form of her.
Oh, he was in the form of Janet Jackson.
Yeah,
oh, okay.
I didn't know that until after the dream.
So repeat what God said to you in the form of Janet Jackson, so it's clear, so everybody could hear it. I know what you're saying, but just repeat, please.
In the dream, he came to get me by the door because I had to be at the concert at a certain time. It was a sold out concert. I didn't have tickets, and she was telling me, I was at the hotel, she was telling me, she was like, oh, you don't have tickets? I said, no, I usually couldn't afford these things, so I just didn't get the tickets. I didn't know how it works, and I didn't know any of it. And she said, okay, I'll give you the tickets, don't worry about it. So I got free tickets, and so she just told me at a certain time that I needed to be there. So he gave me grace, so I'm hurrying up to go get dressed, and I got dressed, and I'm there. A car was already waiting for me downstairs for me to go into, and it'll take me to where I needed to be, which was the venue. And then I get there, and it's to the side. Everybody is online, and she comes and get me personally.
God.
So God comes and gets me personally from the door by where the security is. And they come and get me, and I'm behind her, and she comes and get me. It's right on time, because I was right on time. He comes and get me. And then afterwards, we're walking a little bit, but she looks at me, or God looks at me, who was in the form of Janet Jackson. He looks at me, and I'm not saying Janet Jackson was God. He was speaking through her in the dream. And he looks at me and said, imagine, I needed to know the board to get this gig. And all you needed to do was know me. And I woke up and I told God, I said, all this time I thought I needed to do. And all I needed to do was know you. And it just transitioned everything. It just transformed the whole of my thought process going forward. Because the stature that God has taken me to, many people are going to think it was because I knew this person, that person, that person. He told me a dream that many people are going to think that. And the only person who I knew was God. He divinely connected me to those people. But he already had it set. And they didn't even know. I didn't know. But this was already written when he created me and formed me into this earth. So what we see is the unseen of things, but we make assumptions of what we don't know. And that's why it's so important to not lean on our own understanding, but lean in God's understanding. And when we do lean on our own understanding, we remove that as much as possible and say, God, help me to understand what you desire for me to understand. So I'm not leaning on my own. Because then I would have missed all of that. And then I would have been given praises to somebody else when it was him who did it. It was God who did it. Do you get what I'm saying? So as you see me grow and go into everything that God has for me, never in your thought process ever think that it was a person who I was connected to that got me there. The only being I was connected to is my Father. And it was my daddy who got me there. And he will forever get me into where he desires for me to go. So let's never confuse the two. And if you decide to confuse the two, you're living spiritually blind. And if you choose to do that, that's between you and God. I'm going to leave that to y'all.
Once you're connected with God, we got the right connection.
I got everything I need.
Once we are connected to God, we got the right connection. I'm telling you, God connects you. He opens doors that nobody could shut. He shut doors that nobody could open.
And the prayer that I asked...
You're seeing it now.
Sorry.
And the prayer, go ahead.
And you want to continue?
No, go ahead.
And the prayer that I asked God throughout this whole process, even beforehand, that he has answered now and will continue to answer, because I wanted this for the rest of my entire life, is I said, God, as you do this, don't let nobody... I said, let everybody see that it was your hand who did this. And I said, God, as people look at my entire life, let everybody see it's your hand that did this. I said, they don't have to know you, but after this, they're going to know you. They're going to know you. Whether it's for a second, whether it's for a minute, however long, it's up to you and them. As long as in that moment, they know it was you. That, God got to be over your life.
That's God.
There's no way. There's no way. I want to get used to hearing there's no way. Or that got to be God. God did it. This just don't make sense. And you're trying to figure it out. And every time you're trying to figure it out, he already went on to the next thing. So by the time you saw the first thing, you already backed up because he did 5 other things. So we already on number 6. You still on number 1.
Trying to figure it out.
I prayed that. So as you see that in my life, you will always see God's hand in my life. As long as I stay connected to the vine, you will always see God's hand on my life. For the rest of my life and in eternity.
The verse that he gave us was, remember one of the chapters that he gave us was, I'm trying to find it, was this one here, Exodus. I can't see it with all these apps. Okay, hold on. Let me go into it. was Exodus 34:10, where God says, that's one of the ones that he gave us, Exodus 34:10. He said, I will perform wonders never done before anywhere on earth. All the people around you, yes, that includes you who is listening, will see the awesome power I display through you.
And let me give you the date when we recorded this. February 19th, 2026. But these aren't things that are just happening in 2020 in February 19th, 2026. These are things from past that we've been praying about and talking to God about, and past that he already knew since we were formed. So y'all gonna see it after.
And we already see so many wonders.
Yeah.
He already shown us so much that we're like, God, that's only you. Wait till you guys hear
Wait
some
till
of the
you
things.
see it.
Wait till you guys hear some of the things that it's not God's time yet to say. But wait until you hear some of the things. That's when you're going to really believe that God, with man, when God tells you in his word that with man, this is impossible, but with God, everything, all things, anything, all things are possible. Yeah, believe him.
And I pray that you see it first before you hear it. I pray that you see it first with your very own eyes before you hear it. It hits different. It hits different. I could tell you about all the things I went through, but if you didn't see it, you might not believe it. Yes. I want you to see every single thing that God is doing, so that afterwards, if you choose to be blind, spiritually blind, that is between you and God. It has nothing to do with me. And the reason why I say that is because since we're such a seeing in the physical, we need to see in the physical. I want you to see so you can see God's physical hand. So then afterwards, you can hear about the spiritual that went behind the scenes. So now you can understand the grounding of the physical that you see. Because that's what's going to get you into the physical. You need to get that spiritual work done right with him. You get what I'm saying? So it takes time. It was not just the, we here. No, it was not like that.
And where God just put in my spirit that we're saying all of this now to show you that in the beginning, we didn't know how to enjoy the now with God. We didn't know how to sit with him and learn how to rest in him. We didn't know all of that. But when we asked him to help us and to teach us his way, his will be done, not our wants, not our ways, but his will be done in our lives. And that's when he started showing us little by little by little, because showing us all of that at one time is too much for a human's brain. Too much for our brains. We're humans. But that's how he was able to teach us to enjoy the now with him, because the now is just as important as the future that he's taking us to, and as the future that he's leading us to.
That's good. And I think also
God.
And I think also too, understanding that whatever you're speaking into existence, a lot of what you and you seeing the beauty of it happening and it coming into fruition. I'm talking about the beautiful things, not when you're speaking death, because that does happen because he will give you what you're saying. But I'm talking about and focusing on the beautiful manifestation of the things of God. We've gotten to this idea where we're saying we want to manifest these things into our life, and we're using manifestation really wrong. And I don't want to get too much into it, but I'm just going to say it right here. When you're saying things aloud, it was Travis Green, I believe, who had said it. Mr. Travis Green, he said that when you're saying, it was a Rich Wilkinson interview, I think. And he was saying that when you're saying your desires in your heart, it's really God's desires for you that you're saying aloud. Because I used to think that when God gave me my apartment, I used to think that it was because I said it aloud and I was speaking it into existence. And what God let me realize is it was already spiritually sealed. The physical just needed to get time to catch up. And I wasn't at a point in my life where I could even understand the spiritual. I was at a point in my life where I needed to see all the signs and wonders in the physical. And so the spiritual, as much as I can do in that point of my life, was having the faith that God will get me the apartment. How? I don't know. I just had to learn how to lean on that word. And it was building me to this season where I can lean on God's words and his history. And when the words in history might not work at times because it gets heavy, I just lean in his presence. So it transitioned in height. And I say that to say it wasn't because I was saying it aloud. Yes, that's true. It brings it and births it. But it's not the sole thing that because I was saying it aloud, it happened. It was because God allowed it to happen, and me saying it aloud was just according to his will. So he already sealed it spiritually, and I only know that because he's shown me the process of the spiritual after giving me a glimpse of what he will do in the physical. And I had to now learn him a new way, and I didn't like it because I'm so used to one way. And so as you grow, God will do it in a way of your needs and how he sees you. So even if you don't see yourself there yet, if God is telling you that you're there, you are there. So you got to meet him at that level by just deciding to walk in it. And so that just that part, that I just learned that the things of manifesting it into my life was just me speaking God's will out loud that he already sealed in the spiritual, and the physical just needed time to pick up on. And so even now, like learning how to live in the present, it's going to take some adjusting for me to learn how to do. But I truly desire it in my heart now to do it, because I was a person who I needed to have. I was a type. I'm still sort of a type A person, but God has taken me out of that to learn how to be flexible. And I needed to know everything down to the T. I need the order, like, you know, and I just didn't do good with major shifts. After I had an order set and an agenda set, I did not do good with major shifts. And I'm still learning how to operate. And when a major shift happens, how do we operate with that? But I say that to say I really do truly want to learn how to live in the now instead of learning how to live so much and striving with the future. And God has given so much of what he is doing, but it doesn't mean that all of it needs to happen now if it's not his appointed time. Maybe he just wanted to share some of that information with me of what we have birthed, so when that time comes, I'm not surprised, but I'm prepared. And so I say that to say, with God, there's 5 million different things, but it doesn't mean every single one of it needs to be done now. And so I had got some of that from an Instagram post. I don't know if I, that day, I think it was that day, or whenever it was, but I say that to say, yeah, it's a process. It's not something that will happen overnight, but that's why I always try to stretch through God's process, because then you'll know you'll be getting it in the way that he desires. And even when you mess up, you'll still be getting it, because you'll learn how to correct. You'll learn how to experience his love and what love is and how love is correction, and see him in a different side, so you can actually see that he's not like man, because in how he operates, man cannot operate, and you'll see it for yourself.
After that word, I ain't got nothing else to say.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I talk a lot.
No, you don't. You listen, when God download, just speak it. That's all you got to do. Just speak it. So you want to pray out?
Me? You want to?
You for real?
I heard my voice a lot just now.
All right. God, actually so funny. She said, me? What? Anyway, God, we thank you for this episode. We were just having a conversation. We're about to read Exodus because that's part of our assignment. And you just put in our spirit of enjoying. So God, that last recording stopped because the alarm went off to do your 10 o'clock assignment. So we just want to give you thanks for today's episode where you told us to discuss enjoy the now. And one of the things that you have taught us is when you give us these messages and these titles and these words, this is not just for the person that's listening on the other end, but this is also for us too. Mm-hmm. And so we thank you for speaking to all of us. God, may we go out and have a great day. May we seek you first, the kingdom of God and your righteousness, knowing that all the things, everything that we need, not want, will be given to us in your timing and in your way and in your doing. We give you praise, glory, and honor in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. That was so beautiful.
So bye, y'all. Before the next alarm, we got to do something for God before 10 o'clock. So y'all have a great day. Have a wonderful day. Love y'all. Bye.
Oh, bye, guys.